All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim and the few Wakwat who may be listening. This is your brother Bataka Allah from the GMS camp here in Chicago, coming back at you with another lesson through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, is edifying lesson. All right, and the title of this lesson is Blood is Thicker Than Water. All right, now, I was watching a clip on the internet, and this guy was explaining, he was going into phrases that, people change the meaning of over time. All right. And this was the first phrase that he went into: blood is thicker than water. And he asked the other person that he was talking to in the video what that meant, what they thought that meant. And they said that it meant that, you're supposed to put family above everything, basically. All right. And that's what the modern, just about everybody, if you walk up to random people and ask them what this means, this is what they'll tell you. All right. This is the sentiment that has been attributed to this statement: blood is thicker than water. But the true phrase was actually not that. This is blood is thicker than water is abbreviation of what the real phrase actually was. All right. And the actual phrase is: the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning that, your obligations to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai are more important than even your family. All right. That's what the actual saying was created to mean. All right. That's the original meaning of it. It was changed over time. All right. But, it's a heavy statement, because this is something that we learn when we come into this truth, man, especially when you're new in this faith and you're trying to, go around and wake everybody up, and you're trying to share this gift with everybody, in particular those that are your relatives, the people you're related to, because, as the Elder Murph always says, your family are the brothers in this truth. Those people that's so-called related to you are niggas in the world, man. Now, as far as your mother and your father and your grandparents, you honor them because that's what the scriptures say to do. All right. This is not a green light to just disrespect your elders in your family. All right. But, there is a separation. And that's something that you learn, as you go and grow in this truth. And some brothers have better relationships with their relatives than others. But nonetheless, a vast majority of these people that you're related to are going to get destroyed. All right. And, when that day comes and the hour of temptation comes, they're going to try to turn you in, man. And the scriptures say that. All right. But we're going to get these precepts, Lord willing, to be edifying. This is Amos 3:3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? And the answer is no. See, one thing you have to understand about this truth is that, as the scriptures say, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. There is no gray area with this. All right. It's either you love Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai or you don't. All right. There is no in the middle about it. All right. This is John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. So how do you know if someone loves the Lord? Are they doing their best to their ability to keep the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai? And yes or no? Of course, we can't keep the law 100% in this flesh. All right. We're in captivity. We don't have control over our resources or anything of that nature. So, we just do the best that we can. But there are a lot of things that can be avoided that's going off that we have control over, that we can avoid doing. And, not to say that you're not going to make mistakes. When you make mistakes, you have a contrite heart and you repent sincerely. All right. And that's how you know whether someone loves the Lord or not. All right. But all these niggas in the world, they don't care about keeping the commandments of the Lord. They eating pork. They eating shrimps. They committing adultery. They worshiping idols. All right. They not out here doing nothing for the body as far as this work is concerned. And there's certain individuals that's going to make it that's not prophets. But those individuals still, they put in their own way. The Lord has a way for them to put in towards this ministry, and they do that. All right. And they definitely don't scoff. They definitely don't mock this truth. All right. But outside of those people, outside of the prophets and those who are going to make it, that are friends of the prophets, and other individuals that's not scoffers, that's going to make it. These niggas wicked, man. 2/3 of Jake is wicked, and every heathen on the planet is wicked. All right. And you always have to keep that in mind when you're among these people, because like I said, they hate the Lord. And that has to be something that's in the forefront of your mind. This is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 46. It says, while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. So Yahushua was teaching, and his mother and his brothers tried to come. These are his blood relatives, tried to come and, interrupt his teaching to tell him something, basically. All right, this is verse 48. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. And this is the mentality that we are to have, man. And like I said, this is not a green light for you to disrespect your parents, because that's going off, or your grandparents, or any other elders in your family. All right, we're not here to be going around disrespecting people. You be peaceable with all men if possible. And like I said, as it pertains to your parents and even your grandparents, you always have respect for them, because that's what the Lord said, your parents in particular. All right, but at the end of the day, you still have to understand that the work comes before all of that. The Lord comes before all of that. And you can't really get comfortable with people who are idolaters, who hate the Lord, who are adulterers. These people are wicked, man. Even if certain of them, have a favorable deal with you favorably as an individual, doesn't change the fact that they still worship idols and do wickedness. All right, and eventually that's gonna catch up to you if you continue to deal with them on an extreme, on a frequent high level. All right, as the scriptures say, he who touches pitch shall be defiled therewith. You being around these people is not going to do anything but result in something bad happening. All right, like I said, brothers got different brothers got different relationships with their relatives. I'm not saying that you have to completely not deal with them. That's between you and the Lord, and however the Spirit says to move. But, still with the mindset of understanding that, hey, man, if they're not in this truth and they're not making sacrifices for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Salakia, and they're not making sacrifices for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, hey, man, it ain't looking good for them. And you can't really trust them, because once the heat gets turned up, they're not going to have the Lord to rely on. They're only going to be, living by their flesh and trusting in Esau. And once that happens, they're going to be subject to doing all type of heinous things, man. And you got to keep that in mind. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 6 and verse 14, excuse me. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. It says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness? All right, so, hey, man, like I said, as far as your parents are concerned, and even your grandparents, you have respect for them. And, however the Spirit has you dealing with them, you deal with them, of course. But you shouldn't be in the spirit of, I'm finna go to every barbecue and hang out. These niggas at the barbecue cooking pork, man. Niggas sitting next to you eating a pork chop. You shouldn't be cool with that, man. All right? You shouldn't be cool with being around people and they hate the Lord. All right? You deal with people as you have to, as far as your job and all that is concerned, because all these people hate the Lord. You got to go out into the world and do your thing. You use the world, you don't abuse it. And like I said, as far as your parents and other elders in your family, you have respect for them, because that's what you're supposed to do according to the scriptures. But that doesn't mean that you need to be Mr. Family Man either, man. You know what I'm saying? You put this work first, and then, everything else will sort itself out after that. This is verse 15. It says, and what concord hath Hamashiach with Belial, and what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? So once again, we're not really we don't have the same mindset. We don't have the same spirit as these people anymore. All right. Once you enter into this truth and you start killing the old man, you know, and becoming a new man, you know, your spirit is changed, man. You don't look at things the same. You don't think the same. It becomes difficult to really interact with these people like that, man. At least in my experience, you know, everybody's different. You know, brothers, you know, deal with their situation the way they deal with it. But in my opinion, it's far more difficult to deal with these people than it was when I was in the world, as far as having conversations and spending time with them, because these people are fucking lost, man. But verse 16, it says, "And what agreement hath the temple of Yahweh with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power. And Yahweh hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people." All right. And this is something that makes people have a hatred for you, man. If the Lord is really dealing with you and the Spirit is really on you, you know, these people hate that because they're of the world. They don't love the Lord. All right. And like I said, this is not a gray. There is no gray area with this. Either you love and serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, or you don't, and you're a wicked ass nigga, man. Plain and simple. All right. And you know, the just are an abomination to the unjust, and the unjust are an abomination to the just, as the scriptures say. So we don't really have dealings with these people like that, man. We're not supposed to love them. They're not supposed to love us. Like I said, you respect your parents and respect your grandparents and all that. But hey, man, we not having fucking cousin kickbacks and shit with these niggas, man. And we're not going to the cookouts and the family reunions. At least I'm not. You know, like I said, every brother is different. But as verse 17, it says, "Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." And that's what we're hoping for. And that's what happens when you are in this truth and you're growing in this truth. You start looking at it like that, man. You're separating yourself from these people, because hey, man, if you follow the crowd, you're gonna get fucking cooked down here with when these nukes come, when this MOTB is made mandatory, followed by these nukes, you know, and Yahweh Shai with these chariots. Hey, man, if you're standing with the crowd, you're gonna get fucking cooked down here. We want to be separate from these people and receive salvation, and be changed, man. All right, and then we want to come back down here and put boot to ass on all our enemies, man. You Edomites, you heathens, all you, and you wicked ass niggas that don't get cooked and survive the fire. We're gonna come get you niggas too. All right, but in order to do that, you have to separate yourself now, and you have to put forth good works now, and show your faith through your works now. All right. And the more that you do that, the less and less that you're going to want to be around individuals that's not making the sacrifice like you are, man. You know, it's a saying, you know, with the working out, you know, the more you work out, the more you are disciplined as far as your diet and getting in shape, the less you want to be around people that's not doing that. The less that you want to hear the excuses of people that's not doing that. And it's the same thing with this truth, and on a higher level. When you're doing this work and you going out and you serving the Lord, you don't want to hear the excuses of people that's not, why they not doing it, or why they don't believe. None of that shit matters, man. And it's really a waste of time to even want to hear that out. Like I said, it's no gray area. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it. All right. So, you know, just a quick lesson on that, man. Just remember, like I said, you always have respect for your parents and your elders, because that's what we're supposed to do. And that's a part of our culture as Israelites. But at the end of the day, you know, having respect and being buddy and always being in the same spirit as these people is not the same thing, okay? So you respect your parents and your elders and all that, but you understand that you don't have the same spirit they got. The Lord is not dealing with them like he's dealing with you. And to be honest, man, a lot of these people, the Lord put them around you to get judged, all right? If somebody is close to a man of the Lord and that brother, you know, attempted to break bread with them and they didn't want to hear it, that's because the Lord is not dealing with them, all right? And you have to understand that. Now, certain people that's close to you, the Lord will have mercy on because of you. And hey, man, Lord willing, you know, whoever that's slated to be, Lord willing, that happens for them. But at the end of the day, you know, we got a job to do here, all right? And we're not allowing anything to get in our way while we're doing this job, Lord willing. Lord willing, we can endure to the end and receive salvation. But with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akim, and if you walk while they may be listening. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. Until next time, Shalom. Wa.